It's a little bit more sensual this way.
Yeah, and that way, like, if I'm like just having a rough day and I have a breakdown, I can just edit it out. If it's just like my internal thinking, if it ever happens, it hasn't yet, but you know, not gonna.
I mean, like before you even start, like everybody catch up with me. Like I don't know what fucking what y'all are doing either. Like I think Scott's graduated right at this point.
No,
I should have, but what ended up happening was, they when after I took the break, they decided, hey, that general track that you're doing there, no longer a thing. The reason that you were still allowed to do it, because apparently they got rid of it like 3 years ago, is because you applied into it.
3 years ago?
So.
yeah.
Three. I applied 3 years ago.
Yeah, but like they just now mentioning this to you.
They got rid of it like the year I transferred in.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
They got rid of it. That semester was the last semester that they were doing it. So when I took a break, everybody said everything was fine, except for, when you take a break, you have to reapply.
Right.
When I reapply, you have to re-go through. Now I'm in through it. I have to pick a software engineering track or a cybersecurity track, and it just basically 2 of my credits are completely gone.
Oh my god.
Not credits, like 2 classes are completely gone, useless.
Right.
But it's fine. I didn't do great in those anyway. And now they tacked on 4 more.
College is bullshit. I'm just going to throw my
Like I feel like this like we're gonna be here like 5 years later and like it's still like Scott's still.
They're like, yeah, well,
I gotta go to class, man. I'm sorry.
We still want money from you, so actually, you're gonna have to take 3 more classes, and yeah, it sucks.
I mean, there's a high possibility that 5 years from now I'll still be in it.
Yeah, I
It's
hope
just-
not.
It's just one.
I mean,
of
if
those
it's by
things
your
where-
choice, then sure, but like not if like they keep fucking you over like this.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about masters and PhD.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I could technically drag this on for another 3 semesters. Actually, they might kick me out after 2. I'll hit maximum limit.
Just
You basically
Maximum limit.
at
you're
that point,
not
you're like,
actually
just let me go. Just please.
You're not actually allowed to just take 1 class a semester and just keep working and slowly work on it. You do have a time limit.
It's like you're a student homeless person and just like get out of my house.
Please, I've been paying to go here for years. It's the only place I know. I get it.
Yeah, it's short, and then last semester, I was only able to take a couple courses, so
And you're off
It's
for the
right.
summer, and then you're back.
I'm forced to be off for the summer. They
Yeah.
don't offer any of the classes that I need in the summer or the winter.
At this point, Scott, you should just start taking ones you don't need. Start collecting them like Pokemon. Ooh, I'll get a couple of these.
like, it's an extra
I'm kidding. I'm
$1,000.
kidding. I know.
Otherwise, I genuinely think about it.
I bet.
Because I could probably find a pretty cool intro to robotics class that goes over the summer.
Yeah, like actually take a fun class for once. Like,
Right.
yeah, I feel that. What about you, Tony? What have you been doing?
Fucking nothing.
Yeah,
You
same.
still live with your brother, or do you have your own
no,
place now?
No. I haven't lived with my brother.
He has a
for
Roomba.
over a
Tony
year.
has a Roomba that mapped out his whole little apartment floor
I got it for basically free too.
because it was broken.
Technically, it wasn't broken. It was missing a part that only cost $10, and Amazon was like, "Here's a refund."
And then Tony bought the part on his own and fixed it himself.
$10, yeah, for $10, and it's like a $700 robot.
Wait,
I don't know. I'm cooking some fucking scalloped potatoes right now,
Tony's been cooking a bunch of cool stuff.
everybody's been cooking lately. it
but
seems.
life is fucking nothing right now. Video games.
Awesome.
Tony's way deep into VR now. He lives in the virtual world.
Life is nothing.
Life is nothing. Life is nothing.
It is so funny because, like, dude, same. Like, yes. I just got approved for my long-term disability, which is a nice little stress relief off my shoulders.
I did not know anything about this.
I've been on medical leave of absence since October
Right.
for my chronic fatigue since October 29th. That was short-term disability, FMLA, family medical leave of absence, and that technically for Apple can only last 6 months. So that ended at the end of April, but they offer a long-term disability because I'm very fortunate with the health benefits that I have access to. And I applied for that, just got approved for that. So I applied for that at May 2nd. So I haven't had any money since then, just for whatever I've had, I saved up a bunch of money, so I'm not broke or anything.
Right.
And I have credit cards, which hopefully when I get back paid it'll be like nothing happened. Hopefully. And so I just got approved for that, and that's through November 1st.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to figure my life out in that window. That's just my whole existence right now. What that means, how my body should work on a day-to-day basis, what it's like to be healthy. Very far from those ideas at the moment, but I feel a lot less stressed out now that I know I'm going to start making money again. And I can pay my bills. But that's really I started physical therapy in January, technically, so I had been doing that up until May, but then I stopped because I was trying to save money because I wasn't making any. That's it. I've had some rough weeks. It's been a topsy-turvy time. Some real depressing weekends on occasion, but video games.
Would you like some slightly happier news?
Yeah, what you got?
You know how I've gone on a pseudo diet?
Yeah.
Or have I never talked about it?
Well, you talked about keto before, and your acid reflux you've talked about.
Okay. So just basically at the beginning of the year, I was just like, you know what? I have too much sugar. I put a little too much sugar in my coffee.
Yeah, I feel that.
I eat a fuck ton of cookies. I eat a fuck ton of cookies.
A man that knows what he loves.
Honestly, it's a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, I get it.
So I just said one day, you know what? What if I just drink black coffee instead? So I switched to black coffee.
Nice.
And I was like, you know what? This is fine. And then I was like, what if I just didn't eat cookies anymore? And then I just started losing a lot of weight, a sad amount of weight. I shouldn't have been eating that way in the first place ever, kind of amount of weight.
Right.
You were never a big dude though, but I'd love to see your non-cookie Scott bod. What does that look like?
It doesn't look that different.
God bod, that's so good.
But for point of reference, you're kind of more used to seeing me close to around 170 pounds.
Sure.
When I started doing this, I was close to 180 pounds.
Okay.
So floating between 181, 178, because your body does that. It doesn't stay at a stable weight.
Yeah.
And yeah, between basically saying, hey, I'm gonna cut out some of the sugar and redefine what a normal day-to-day life is, I've basically lost 10 pounds.
Hell yeah. I've also recut soda out of my life again. Just as a general thing. Although I did that a while ago. I kind of go back and forth. I drink sparkling juice now. Let me tell you about Izzy.
Yeah, I'm basically just a coffee and water.
Yeah, coffee's the other thing I drink.
And it's straight black coffee and water. And sometimes I will have a treat when I go out, maybe once a month. Because I think this week
What's a treat to you, Scott?
a mango bubble tea.
Okay.
Nice little shit.
I got a bag of nails. I just eat nails.
With no milk.
No milk. Just nails. By the spoonful, yeah.
Double-sided.
Yeah, double-sided nails. We've written Scott's Adventure Time character. Like, if he ever were to appear in that show, that is who he is.
Oh, that's the other thing. Nabeshin, have you seen any of the Distance Land stuff?
Yes, I have. Very good shit. Very,
Yes.
very good stuff.
Because the finale was good, but it was a finale for the show, not for the two main characters where it's like, and we got that.
Exactly.
That's good. I was curious what you guys thought about that. I know they continued on more Adventure Time stuff, so glad it's good.
It's all there. Okay, maybe 1 and 3 is much better than 2, but still,
It's good enough.
it's all still good.
Nabeshin, have you been watching the MCU shows?
Yes, I watched all of them. I'm behind on Loki. Me and my girlfriend have to watch that. The newest one that just came out recently.
I like how Nabeshin casually drops the girlfriend. Like we grilled him about life earlier, and he's like, I don't know, I've just been living. Then I ask him about Marvel shows, and the girlfriend comes out.
Like, I'm not a kiss and tell her, dude.
I know, but listen, man, I gotta fucking. I'm with you on this journey on Twitter about your struggles. I feel you, and now I gotta wait. I gotta like be patient over here.
Well, follow me on fucking Instagram. I post pictures about her like almost every day.
I know. I just don't like to. I try not to be too nosy. She's cute though. I'm happy for you.
She is cute. Thank you.
Yeah, I like the Marvel shows a lot. I forgot when I started watching them, I was like, man, I miss the MCU a lot. It's cool having it like every week. It's like I've been watching stuff weekly this year way more than I have probably like ever because of that. But like I've been watching My Hero Academia every week as it's been like coming out. And like it's been way easier for me to keep up with like weekly content drop type things. It's been cool. It's also like we'll talk about it when we talk about video games, but like same is true of Destiny, which like has been adding like new story missions every week, and it's like the first time I've like engaged in a live service video game. It's like, oh, this is cool. I see the appeal now. You know, I get this stuff way better now than I did before.
It just sucks when the service ends.
Exactly. It just sucks when it's all over. Yeah, for sure. Rest in peace, Paragon. Think about you daily. No, I don't. Nobody thinks about well, somebody probably thinks about Paragon. I got GameStop sent me 2 Banjo-Kazooie amiibos by accident. The most interesting thing that's happened in my life in the last 6 months.
Is there like any sort of rhyme or reason?
No,
So,
I
like,
ordered
did you
one.
buy-
I ordered one, and they sent me 2 by accident. So I got 1 for free, which I'm not complaining.
Okay. Well, maybe they were like, these don't hold up that well. So
Well, this is
maybe
basically
if
garbage.
If we send them 2, maybe
The first
maybe
one,
of them
the
will
first
hold up.
one's a wash. We all know that, but maybe the second one will survive. That is a fair assessment. And Tony and I are gonna start a D&D campaign.
Yeah.
I'm taking my time with it, I know, but I'm like really excited about it. I've been writing the world and stuff. It's gonna be good. We got it's Tony, Scott White, Jazz Foster, and my friends Oscar and Topher that I worked with. Tony, you worked with Topher briefly, I think.
Briefly, yeah.
But they're good people.
That do sound about right.
Yeah, it's a good dude. But we're gonna probably record the first couple of things of that in like the next couple weeks. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to do all these voices I've been preparing.
Ooh.
I know. We'll see if I've got like a couple that I feel like are gonna be real popular, but there's a few that I'm like, all right, we'll see how this goes. I've got my shopkeeper written, Tony. I want you to know that.
Okay.
And he's great. He's like one of my favorite characters. Period.
But don't tell me anything.
I won't. He's a boy.
You already told me things.
He's a man. He's male. Now you know all my secrets. but he's great. That's the only character that matters. I haven't written. There's no plot. There's just a shopkeeper.
Oh.
No, I'm just.
You know,
I'm kidding.
honestly, there was a chance there would be no shops in the whole world. So
Yeah.
now I'm glad you spoiled that for me, dick.
I don't want to create a fantasy world where there's no shops. That sounds so sad.
I don't think that a world can exist where there's no trade.
I miss this.
Hey, man. We're here. We're trying our best.
Okay, so hear me out.
Yeah.
There's no shops because deity of the world says no. He just injects you with the shit he thinks you might need.
It's
So
a
what
communist
about like
deity,
what about like
Scott?
the underworld like black market? Yeah. Like there's
Well, you
always
see,
going to be
here's the
someone
thing.
who wants something and someone who's ready to provide that service.
Go ahead. I want to know the rest of this idea, Scott. This communist
Oh,
deity.
no. We're getting to that. You see, that's the deity says no, right? But this is D&D we're talking about. No deity is all too powerful, so it exists, but it's all illegal trade. All of it.
All of it. Everything's illegal. I'm.
If you want something from somebody, you gotta kill them.
This is not the shopkeeper idea I had, Scott, but I am going to write it down.
Wait, but in that kind of universe, wouldn't there be someone who offers the service of killing someone so you can get their shit?
No.
You know, and then they're technically selling the service of killing that guy. So it's
There's no contract work in this deified communist society, Tony.
What I'm saying is like, how is there gonna be no person in the entire world who doesn't have that thought?
Because the god's in their head, just giving them everything he
They're
thinks
not.
they need.
D&D gods aren't that powerful.
In this world, they are.
Also, like, oh, okay.
Clearly.
You know what? You're right. All right, fine. Never mind.
Scott didn't lead with my below average power deity. He said this deity fucking gives you what you want.
Yeah. By the way, I'm fucking strong.
I'm strong. I will put this in your brain. All right. Now I'm gonna get
No, but
started.
that's the thing. It's
'Cause
the
it's
world will
9
be a
o'clock.
Little extra fucked because those are things that they got to deal with.
And I don't want us to go too late. Are you on a hard out here, Nabeshin? Do you have work in the morning?
Nah, dude. I can't leave y'all tonight.
All right. Then let's get wet and wild. Do you want me to send you the?
The talk? Sure.
Yeah, I'll post this for all y'all.
I'm gonna be honest. I watched the Nintendo Direct and nothing else.
Really, nothing did it for you?
I didn't. I just didn't watch anything.
Oh,
So I was
okay.
like, you know what? Nintendo gave me what I needed.
There's a new WarioWare, man. Looks very good.
There's a new Metroid.
Well, all right, I know that. We will get there.
Bro, is episode 499? It was almost 500?
It's the one
Yeah.
before 500.
Saying.
Hey, man, we're getting there.
I mean, I have to be on next week, right?
Well, I mean, if you want, this is an open door, Nabeshin.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
an
you're
open
allowed
door
to do that.
policy.
No, you're not fucking allowed.
Yeah, what do we?
You need to file for an approval 3 weeks in advance.
Yeah, have you submitted your paperwork, Nabeshin?
Yeah, we record every 2 weeks, so I guess you're fucked.
Yet.
If you just change the date on the application, they won't know the difference.
It's true.
Now that you told me, I'm gonna know. I'm gonna look.
This signature isn't Nabeshin's.
This is Nabeshin's signature. This is bullshit.
Nabeshin gets his mom to sign it for him because he was like busy that morning or something. All right, where's my inhaler? There we go. Take a minute to yourselves. Think about all you've done. Could one of you talk for me real quick, just to make sure I'm getting levels? What?
Level.
I was about to say something, but no one else spoke up, so I was like, I wonder how long.
How
people
long
will
this
wait.
could go? Yeah, what a fun bit for me.
I honestly was about to say, what did you ask for?
Just say something, goddamn you! All right. Let us do the thing. It is Saturday, June 26, 2021, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions podcast. I am Alex O'Neill, your host for podcast, for video games, for all the things in between. And joining me this week, we have Mr. Scott Guthier,
Hello.
Mr. Tony Horvath,
Hey.
And joining us from the great beyond, the wondrous world beyond video games, where there is no negativity, there's no Twitter, there's only Instagram where people don't leave mean comments. Hopefully, we have coming back to the show, Mr. Brian Nabeshin Jackson.
Yosha.
Welcome back, sir. How's it feel?
Hey, feels good.
Yeah,
Pretty great.
we had a nice little pre-episode 30-minute ramble. That's always like
Little pre-show puff.
yeah, little pre-show. That's what it is, really. It was good. We talked about a bunch of silly stuff. Welcome back, Nabeshin. Episode 499. It's good to have you here.
$4.99.
I barely know her. I don't know where we were gonna go with that, so I went to my safe place. How's life been? We got the long version, but for the truncated, for the listeners out there who've missed you, Nicole Humphrey told me that if she never listened to the last episode that you were on, that it was never real. So as far as I know, she's not listened to the podcast since then.
Wow.
So how's it feel? How are you doing? For folks wondering out there.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Been kind of silent for like the last seemed like 6 months now.
Is it
like-
nice? I think it's nice.
Mm.
It is nice. It's nice having thoughts.
And not having to share them all the time.
Yeah. And then like it, that was like a literal addiction that I had. And for the most part, I would say like I'm just completely off of that now. So it's like I'm enjoying things. I'm enjoying people. I'm enjoying everything's a little bit more sweeter, and I don't feel like I need to be constantly on this like having to be in the know of something and like have an opinion about it. So
Yeah.
that's been really
the
nice.
pain wagon.
Yeah, the pain wagon is a very good analogy. Actually, we did the last time you and I chatted was a little bit ago. It was April. We talked about Mass Effect.
Right.
And so there were a few things that you have cared about in between. Has it been? I mean, you've probably been playing Mass Effect, or did you played Mass Effect at some point? So maybe we can just talk about that later. But it's good to have you back. It's also like I really appreciate that. I will say, like, we don't do the podcast every week anymore. Sometimes not every 2 weeks. Sometimes every 3 weeks or whatever. So it is nice to have just like just pure silence, and also like not this predicated feeling of like, well, I need to have something to say about this.
Exactly.
And also like you probably noticed that like the Google Doc's different since like the last time you were on and everything. Just
Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck this is anymore.
like the way we do news and stuff, like it's been nice. I've tried to make the podcast a lot more stress free, and it's led to us like having like really fun kind of off the cuff conversations, especially like, toward the end of the podcast. Tony is really good at throwing this out of like, have you thought about this, and then we just talk about it for 30 minutes or whatever. So but it's good to have you here. Is there any housekeeping that you have, Nabeshin? Anything you've done out there in the last 6 months that you want people to know about? Or is like that the exact point? There is nothing, and that's great.
There's nothing. Like I stream when I want to, so that's just a thing. Yeah, I stream when I want to. I'm supporting my lady as far as her streaming endeavors because she's trying to get partner. So like that's something I'm actively trying to help her do. After like we get through like some little tags and some little lingering things that like we need to like work out. But other than that, like there's nothing really going on my side. Like I guess like the pimp something, because like I recorded this like months ago, and Scott was being like Scott White was being like a real gent, because like this was like when I took my Twitter break, and like and I was like, oh man, I don't want to forget Scott, but like Professor RBG, we talked about Mass Effect before the Legendary Edition came out, and like just like gave like some general thoughts about like it was Mass Effect 2 actually. It was Mass Effect 2.
I pimped that when it came out on the Grand Specoscope. So yeah, which was great. Scott did like a conversation on all 4 Mass Effect games that month, and you were for Mass Effect 2, which is good. I'm glad he got you for Mass Effect 2. I know how much you love that game. Can I drop a Mass Effect take here at the beginning of the podcast, and then maybe we can revisit it later?
Andromeda's the best one in the series.
No, I like Mass Effect 3 more than I like Mass Effect 2 now.
I can see that.
Yeah, I've had like a whole weird change of feelings about Mass Effect. Not like I feel differently about it. I just like love it more, and I like different aspects about each of them a lot more.
With this newfound knowledge,
Yeah.
do you think that I would prefer either of those 2 over 1?
I think you'd like Mass Effect 3.
I like 2 as well.
Yeah, I like. Is 1 your favorite out of the 3, Scott?
So I haven't played 3. I have played almost all of 2. I don't think I fully finished 2.
It's funny, like if you like 2, like 3 plays a lot like 2, you know, so it's gonna be more gameplay wise of that. It's funny now that when I play them kind of closer together, it's like, oh, like the objectives here are a little bit more interesting, and so like some of the basic mission design is better in 3, which I appreciate. But there's just like if you like just hanging out in that world and like getting like different, especially like different political vibes from all the different, like, because you get to go to the home world for all the main races and stuff. Like, I feel like all that stuff is such a good lore payoff for like Mass Effect 1 that you might end up really digging 3. So it's worth the play, especially with all the DLC.
Okay, because if the overall construction of the game is just straight up better, but it's 2, but they constructed it better, and they have a better through line than they for 1 than they did with 2. Then
Like the side,
not like main story stuff. I mean like world building wise.
Yeah, I'd say like the characters, the world building in 3 is really top notch. It's just like the side missions in 3 are nothing, but they weren't that great in Mass Effect 2 either. So it's
You're right, and when they were kind of big in Mass Effect 1. There wasn't a lot of it, but
yeah, and a lot of it in 2 and 1, it's a lot of the same. At least in 3, it's a little different. But it's going to planets and scanning a bunch of stuff. I scanned every fucking planet in that game, Mass Effect 3. I'll tell you what, though, I had not ever done that before, and that was fun.
In 3?
Mm-hmm. Just like doing every single side quest.
Well, 3 is seamless.
Yeah, I just like a lot of times you're like going through the side quest description of like, okay, I got to go here and look for something here. And this time I was like, I could do that. I'm just going to go everywhere and make sure it says 100% next to everything, which is like a little bit more of like, you're kind of in for a long haul, but I was kind of in for it. And in Mass Effect 3 beforehand, I had waited until the end to do any of the side quests, and this time around I like did them as I went, which felt narratively better. But we'll talk about Mass Effect later probably. Before we talk about video games, a little bit of housekeeping at the top. We had one review go up from Mr. Scott White for Operation Tango. It was one of the free PS Plus games for June, and he also had gotten in. There was a review for it up on irrationalpassions.com. And outside of that, it's just all of our E3 stuff. We sat down and did reactions to all the big shows. We did post shows for all the big shows. We did like roundups for all the little shows as well. So we kind of got together and went through lists. Like Mike and I watched pretty much all the conferences for indies and stuff. A lot of great indie showcases, I would say, like particularly Day of the Devs and the Guerrilla Collective showcases. Because now we're in the aftermath of E3 where everyone realizes like there were 30 things there and most of them were not worth watching. But if you missed a couple of things, those two, Day of the Devs and Guerrilla Collective, were 2 indie streams that were worth watching. They're very good. Pretty much all hitters in both of those shows of a variety of genres. But we did a post E3 roundup where we talked about some of the demos. We talked about Nintendo and stuff as well, and that was like the last big E3 thing. But there's like 4 or 5 podcasts, post E3 podcasts, just reacting to stuff out there. That is the majority of the stuff we've done over the last few weeks. So go to youtube.com/irrationalpassions. Check that out. We'd appreciate it very much. And thanks to all the folks that tuned in live. There's only a handful of y'all, but we appreciate it. And we appreciate you. Itaiko and Nicole and Bryce and all the folks that came out and hung out and chat and stuff. So, but that was it. That's all the housekeeping. Nabeshin's here. So if you haven't already, go listen to the Nabeshin and myself patch notes episode where we talked to the Cogswells about Mass Effect. Because that was a great time.
Yeah.
It feels like forever ago. It was like 3 months ago. Which is surreal. Let's talk about video games. We gotta know, Nabeshin. The world has been waiting. The Sonic lore tour is over. It is over. We need to know the results. Who won? Who won Sonic? The 30th anniversary concert happened. People were crying in the streets. Nabeshin, what happened? Who's the best Sonic?
God, what did I even say? I have to remember. It's been months, dude.
I know, but I have had this sitting on the back burner for so long. I was like, if Nabeshin comes back, first thing you gotta fucking ask him about the lore tour. Don't you dare forget. Because in my head, people come to this podcast not even for us at all, but for the Sonic lore tour.
It was Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I think, is the best.
But Sonic Mania was number 2 or whatever, right?
Yeah, number 2, and it was always the debate of where I think if Mania was better than or is it either gonna be Mania or 3 and Knuckles. Everybody knew that, but it's I just think it flowed a little bit better with 3 and Knuckles. For a lot of reasons, it's more connected, and it's it's obviously all original because it's all the worlds from 3, all the worlds from Sonic and Knuckles, so just put it into one thing, and it's then you get this this payoff at the end, which is really good with Super Sonic and going against the last boss with Robotnik and all, and with Mania, no good and still one of the best out there. I feel as far as Sonic games, I think my biggest takeaway is there's not enough new there. As far as levels, there's maybe 3 all new levels, and other ones are just remixes of from the past games, which are really fun and really cool to go through. But I would like a full-fledged this all original levels, all original music, all this original stuff with Mania. The special stage is still the best, and the Supersonic part is good, but I think there's something really special about Sonic 3 and Knuckles, because Sonic 3 and Knuckles doesn't have any dialogue in it whatsoever. But the way they tell that story and the way you go through it and the way how it ultimately ends, I think it's that's just the payoff with that. And Mania, though, has the similar things with that as well, not having any dialogue and just going through its story with the level design and the levels you're going through. The Supersonic part, I don't think really culminates as good as something Sonic 3 and Knuckles does. So that's why that one took number 1.
Hell yeah. So at the end of it, did you feel this sense of understanding the world, the universe, and the lore of Sonic the Hedgehog?
It's funny, dude, because I would probably give you a completely different answer a few days ago.
Yeah.
But then I just recently saw the orchestra concert that came out this week. And man, you talk about it's exactly how I felt when with Kingdom Hearts or something like that, where it's oh man, I really do love this. I love every bit of this, and it's obviously just the soundtrack and the music from all the games and stuff like that. But it was just this overall feeling, watching that orchestra and just hearing the music and hearing the remixes, or hearing the Crush 40 singer singing Live and Learn with Juice Noi playing guitar and this Crush 40, and then with the orchestra with it as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and with the orchestra mixed in with it, so you're hearing violins and like like all this shit.
Live and
like,
Learn has never sounded this good.
And 100%, dude. And like that's really what it was. And
That's
like,
awesome.
God,
That's the power
like
of music, man. Like every time these concerts and stuff happen, like of all the video game things that I would want to go to, I want to go to that because I feel like music just has like the purest emotional effect on people. Like it is like the distillation of that vibe, of that feeling, of that the kind of love of a thing.
Because like when you think about it, it just takes away all the bullshit of like opinions and like rightfully so, and like some like just like this dog piling on about like Sonic and like how it's been for all the ages, and like it's like listening to the music for all the games from like Sonic 1 all the way to Sonic Forces or Mania or whatever, and it's just like, man, it's just like this series is actually really special for me. Like it's super special to me. And like some games like piss me off and like it was like, why does it even exist? And like or one reason or another, just didn't like click with me. The fact that like I can even have something like this, something that's been with me since I was 5 years old, and like I could still like go back to and play, and like still have new entries of, like that's a blessing, dude. Like at the end of the day, like Sonic the Hedgehog is like one of the best things in my life. As far as like something I discovered on my own and like made it my own. Like there's a few things I can say about that, like this Kingdom Hearts and maybe like Inuyasha, but like like just fighting Sonic the Hedgehog and like this is special, dude. It's one of my favorite things ever. Like and it will always be now. Like that's what that concert really did for me. That orchestra concert did for me. Is like it reaffirmed that like I do love this. It's not like it's some ironic bullshit thing. It's not like some me just like, oh, I'm playing this game and man, I'm gonna fucking hate it. But like, I'm still here for it because like it's entertainment, it's clicks, it's views, it's whatever. It's like I actually like this. I'm just trying to understand it, even if I don't like it, and that it's a special thing to me.
I totally get that. I wouldn't go so far as to like some like losing their mind of like, no, Sonic is better than all else, like in that moment of like listening to that concert, but like I empathize with that so much of like there's something about and it's usually music and things like that of like connecting to a thing or like reconnecting to a thing, even like on a purely emotional level, and like being like, oh, like I don't fully understand why this has such an emotional hold on me, but it does, and like I care about it so much. I'm not saying like Sonic is beyond comprehension as to why you like it, but like I get those kinds of things. Like I've been replaying Final Fantasy VII Remake, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and it's just like, speaking of music, like that's why I keep coming back to in my head of like a great example of like like when I hear this music, it evokes something in me that like I wasn't even sure what was there. And so I really understand. Like there's something special about it, and yeah, I love that. Like because Sonic is like so pigeonholed as like the kind of sassy guy, and that's his whole shtick, and that's why people like him. Like that, you need a reason to like Sonic. There needs to be like some generally understood positive aspect of like Sonic, but it's like, no, I love this. This has been with me forever, and it goes beyond just looking for reasons to like a thing or reasons to not hate it. It's just I love this. So yeah. And
I will say this, I think like it's generally the way they did it is what makes it actually really good, because like they did this before on his 25th anniversary, and it had like a live concert, there was fans there, stuff like that, and I actually think like, because I never seen it fully in person or took the time to actually fully look at it, because like it was actually really cringeworthy to look at it that way, because like you have fans there, you have fans trying singing along, and it's like like it doesn't feel that great. But like that was just Crush 40 in front of a live concert, and like
yeah, I get it.
Music there, it didn't have orchestra and stuff like that, so like this being like just that, and not having like the fan aspect mixed in with it. I could look at like the YouTube chat or whatever, but like I didn't.
No one can look at YouTube chat. Don't even fool yourself into thinking otherwise.
So it was just like me concentrating in this, and like it was just like me by myself just looking at this thing, and just like I loved every second of it, and I thought it was an amazing thing that they did. So I think that's a good factor when when we're talking about like how like Sonic as an individual, Sonic is like one of the best things in my life. And like, but as like a community or like mixing with other people is like it's like that's okay, you know.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Do you have like a broader appreciation of like the spectrum of quality for Sonic now that you've finished all the games, kind of relatively over the course of about a year and a half or so?
Yeah, like they just announced like they're doing a new Sonic game and they're trying to it'll be like a new reinvention again.
Yeah.
And
I read this interview.
Yeah, and the couple of times that they reinvented Sonic and what it is, like there's been some successes and some not. Like going from his 2D to Adventure, I would say is a success. And then when they went to Unleashed, where it was half successful, where like because you know like they introduced the boost system and that was like a whole new thing and a whole new mechanic that was like super cool, very innovative and super fun. But like you know like the other half of that game just like drags it down, and you know they carried that on from Sonic Colors to Sonic Lost World, and Sonic Forces is like you could say like the culmination of all that into one, where like it fits, and you could say like if it's one of those games, and it feels good too. And like oh man, I could just give like a whole review about like this just thinking about it, because like I was playing Sonic Forces and like there are some genuinely good moments in this game, and like the way like they integrate like these Uncharted moments with Sonic is really great in that game. Not as good as Sonic Unleashed though. So it's like it's an interesting like
one step forward, two steps back type deal.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's some successes that they have, and like there's some innovations that they have, but like the innovations like kind of just like goes away after a while. Like Sonic Colors, like we're about to get a remaster of Sonic Colors. Sonic Colors is a great game. It's a great game to play, but like when like telling a story with that game, like it's like the most kiddiest thing that like I've ever played, and like and it's easy as shit too. Like it's not even it's not even that challenging. So it's like you know it's like you made a great game, but like I can't like it's like you don't want me to play it basically, like because like you're boring me with the story, and like it's just easy. Like the bosses are just like a cakewalk. Like what am I even playing this for? But like you know, it's still fun levels and like good level design, and it's just stuff like that that makes that game successful. But like it's just an interesting study. It's because like I feel like there's few games like this where you can like go through an entire series of like a single subject and like see the evolution of how things go. Like there's like Metal Gear and Kingdom Hearts and stuff like that. But like it's so interesting to see like how a character evolves throughout the ages and like where they at now and like where you think they should go, versus like you know pretty much what it is.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like there's some Frankenstein Sonic game out there. Like if you take all the best parts of all the best games, but the trouble is like from a distance, right? As someone not as into it, like. I feel like all of the best parts of any given Sonic game are so like intrinsically tied to the core conceit of that game that if you then took a good part of it and put it in something else, it wouldn't be as good. And it's like no one has fucked themselves in such an interesting position quite well as Sonic has, right? Like, and that is interesting. I'm curious when they like the director saying that they're trying to like create the next Sonic adventure with this next Sonic game, and how that like laid the foundation for the next like 15 to 20 years of Sonic games. Like that's what they want to do with this next game. It's like that seems like such a tall undertaking, but we'll see. I'm glad I feel complete now. I've gotten the Sonic lore tour notes. Now you can. Is there any?
But we can't move on yet.
Okay.
I gotta ask him a question.
Yeah.
Are you aware at all of I want to call it the newest Sonic fan project?
The newest one, no.
What are they doing?
It's basically a full-on 3D Sonic game.
Okay.
They came out with the engine and proof of concept like I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know the exact timeline, but I downloaded it. Nabeshin knew about it, and I gave it a shot. And I was like, hey, you know what? Yeah, this kind of works. And I don't know if they're using the same engine, but they are. There's basically a beta form, not an alpha form, of a full fan-made Sonic game.
I'd
Kind
be
of
very,
kind of like what Pokemon Uranium was.
I'd be really curious about like a fan-made 3D Sonic game because obviously
And,
there's many fan-made 2D.
Yeah,
Sonic
it
games.
is. It is a 3D one.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's one of those things where it's apparently the people who've been playing it are just very, very excited about it because they're doing a good job with it.
Well, you're all about PC weird shit now, Nabeshin, so this sounds like it's right up your alley.
We'll see.
If it hits a 1.0, I'm playing it.
Yeah, I would be curious.
If it does, if not, I'm just gonna be mildly upset about it instead of devastated.
Observing from a distance, yeah.
The Sonic cycle.
The great Sonic cycle. All right, now that we've covered the most important conceit, any video games the last 6 months, any highlights that you want to share with us that you've been playing? I imagine you haven't been playing as many things.
I haven't actually. Like I have new involvements in my life that like has kind of like hindered that a little bit recently, like for the last month or so. So like I haven't played too much stuff, but like the biggest highlights I guess I should like mention about like the Mass Effect things. So I haven't talked about it anywhere.
Yeah, I'm just curious how you felt about it.
It's good. Like I've done all of Mass Effect 1 and I'm probably like halfway through Mass Effect 2. Just haven't had the time for it. But yeah, like revisiting Mass Effect 1 with this like there's some interesting things, there's interesting choices I should say that they did with this from like the scuttlebutt that I've noticed or like the stuff I've seen myself, like how they're like trying to like make it like somewhat connected, like or more seamless as far as like going from one game to the next. Like the seamless stuff, like it works and sometimes it doesn't work. Like just like this, but it's like it's nothing like game breaking, nothing that really like gets in the way of anything. It's just like it's like you just asking why, like why do that, that type of thing. Like like Kelly Chambers' hair, like
Sure.
not a big deal. Like you're making it look like what her hair looks like in 3, but like in 2 she was a redhead, and it's like, why would you do that? I'm like, okay, sure, I guess. Go with like
Go with God. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's just like okay.
I feel like it to me, because when I saw that, I was like, oh, I think they like unified or standardized that like that hair piece. It sounds so weird to say that. That like hair selectable from the character creator. That like it seems like they had like flattened out. Like maybe that specific hair alt option changed in Mass Effect 3, and so they just flattened it across all 3 games. That was what I thought. If like I was like reaching for a technical explanation in my head, and that was what I came to the conclusion of. But yeah,
I
but like
it makes a lot of sense, but it's also like, well, why'd you change it?
it's because if you don't know, you'll never know, right? Like
it's definitely one of those things, and it's like
we
it's
only
like, other
notice
than,
because
like,
we know, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because like it's a conversation that me and like Katie's boyfriend Joe like we talk about constantly. It's like, why did they do that? It's like no reason. It's like why didn't they Navigator Presley like look somewhat younger because they didn't make him have white hair anymore? Like why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. He's in only one game. Blah 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 blah. It's like it's just dumb nitpicky stuff that doesn't really affect anything. I will say though, like for Mass Effect 1. It's pretty close to being a remake. It's not exactly that, but like it's pretty close for as much as they changed and like what they tried to improve the game.
Like that's really all you needed to do for me.
Adding checkpoints and like increase the inventory and made it like a hot button to like get rid of your trash. Like make them make all your like guns like be able to like put a trash icon by it, so like you just automatically just junk them all instead of like going through them every once in a while. Going through every one of your guns and like trying to get rid of them one by one. Like that's game changing for that game. In a lot of ways, you know, like, and it's one of those things like me being like a curmudgeon about this type of stuff. Like, oh, like I missed the minutia about it. Like, I want to like actually like fucking go through every gun and fucking delete them one at a time to see that little number of Omni of Omni gel that I already maxed out just go up even more or not go up at all because I'm stupid and dumb. But like you know, like I think they did all the right things, and like I've been saying that from the beginning too. Like I think they're doing all the right things as far as like engaging their fan base and making them excited for this, and like I think they delivered from what I've seen so far at least on of what that trilogy was and how it could stand the test of time. And it was like I was saying, like I don't know, I was telling Scott this, Scott White.
Yeah,
Let's
not
Scott.
me.
Other
Yeah. Starting Mass Effect 2 again, like and like just going through that again. It's like, oh, like, cause you know you get those moments where you when you're like, oh, this is like one of the greatest games of all time type of like feelings, or like
Yeah,
when you're
I
like
know exactly what
type
you
of
mean. Yeah.
yeah, and I think Mass Effect 2 does that immensely, and like it's wild to think how much or how good that game still is for me, even after all these years. And I know I'm a person who plays it every fucking week, whatever. Shut up, just let me talk. Just let me talk. But like, it's really such a good game, and like, you know, there's things that like, oh, the gameplay is not as good as it used to be, or you know, like by modern standards, it's like it's very stiff, and it's like you're not as mobile as you are. And 3 is like way better as far as gameplay, as far as that type of stuff, and in multiple ways. But like, it's something about like the storytelling, the characters that you meet, the way you evolve with those characters, and eventually being in the suicide mission at the end, how that all just like comes together. I feel is like what makes that game just a standout to like everything else. Because like, do I need to fucking scan a planet for like every single mineral piece? No. Why?
You
I know why, but still.
You could if you wanted to, man.
Yeah, but like, you know, it's just
Yeah,
Mass Effect 2 is so fucking good.
it is good. And I will say, like, another to go along with that, like, when I was replaying it, I've played a lot of DLC since Shadow Broker, but to go back to it and, like, play it and be like, this is, like, actually, like, really just as a mission well constructed, it is checking boxes that, like, I didn't realize kind of at the time of, like, oh, like, the layout of these missions, the level design is all different than it was before. Like, there's this weird racing mini game in the middle of it that I totally forgot about. And it's like fun. It's not like too serious, right? It's like, oh wow, like this is still a great like DLC expansion. And now that I've like recently I played Intermission, which is also like very good in my opinion. So it's been fun to like go back to that, and it's like this is one of like the first times anybody tried anything like this. You know, there are other single player DLCs of that era, like the one that Red Dead Redemption for sure, which I didn't play, but one I can think of is like I think it's Ascension or Diversion or whatever from Dead Space 2. And like that was another of like
I never knew it went to that level.
Yeah, there was like you played as another character that kind of led up until another moment of Dead Space. And it was like a lot of people were trying that kind of thing of like a standalone story or something that could slot into the main game. And to think of like how good Shadow Broker is still today, especially like then you compare it to things of that era, and it's like, oh man, this is so much better than all those things. And then stuff of this era, and it's like, oh wow, this is like as good, if not better, than a lot of the stuff, like standalone story DLCs that come out now.
Yeah, it makes me think, Alex O'Neill, like since we're talking about video games again, we go on these tangents, and like, God, I miss this like so much. Like,
Hey,
it makes me think.
Open door.
It makes me think about like is the payoff there? You know, like them putting all this time to this single piece of DLC, and that's why it is more or less abandoned at this point now. And there's exceptions, obviously, like The Witcher and like a few other games, but like these single player story expansions that like, you know, actually fucking matter, and like you know, like are like may even be better than like the actual game, like Minerva did, like for people for Bioshock 2, for example. Like there was an era in the 360 PS3 era that like that was like the thing to do, and then, like it just stopped doing it because I think like maybe it just got too expensive,
Probably
or
too
like
expensive, yeah.
or even to the point where it's like, you know, like when someone's done with the game, they're done with the game. So it's like, what's the point of doing that when they're not going to purchase the DLC unless for like, you know, the diehard fans, the Dragon Age people, for instance, like, you know, like it just makes me think of this like maybe like it doesn't really like pan out that well. You know, like that's why GTA doesn't even try to do stuff like this anymore.
Yeah, it's just not the money that you spend versus the money you get back is just very different, especially like in a case like GTA where they do expansions for online, and I'm sure they just get so much more money for stuff like that. Yeah, it's cool. That game is great. Like I'll say, going through it again, I played it differently. You know, I texted you about this, and I've talked about it I think on the last podcast. But yeah, I did FemChip. I did Ashley Was Alive instead of Caden. And I, you know, I generally I played pretty similarly, but I made more consistent
Still the hour
choices. I'm still the Aura, and I didn't romance anyone in Mass Effect 2, which was the first time I had ever done that. Which is like there's payoff for that, which I was like really surprised to get to. And it like really changed the vibe, the beginning vibe of Mass Effect 3 like completely. It was like way less awkward. I was like, oh, thank God. Speed bump eliminated. But you know, like, and it created like a way more intimate relationship on that end, I felt. Then by the end of it, like by the time I like wrapped Citadel, like put a bow on it and went to do that, like I was devastated. Like emotionally devastated.
That's just real, dude.
By the end of the game, I was like, and I'm not like fully over it, to be fully, and you know, it doesn't help that like I'm going through life and whatever, and like all these things that I'm latching onto are like the only thing giving me sustenance. Like I'm certain you guys understand. And so like that break, that hard, like but real hard but clean break at the end of Mass Effect 3 of like I'm no longer with all these people is like it's heart wrenching, and it like it that, you know, it's frustrations with like it ending, and it's just like there's like just a lot of my feelings of like not really getting to say goodbye to a lot of the characters, and like that kind of, but it makes it more real in a way that like makes it better. But I have a more complicated feeling that has just evolved into like, well, I love these characters so much, like they're such a family to me, that like I feel differently about it, not necessarily better or any worse, but like I have a better understanding of just like an appreciation, like this is complicated and I can't just feel any simple kind of way about it, and that's cool. Like I love that they leave you with that, because there's no easy way to explain how you feel at the end of that game.
It's because it's interesting. Like we were talking earlier, and you were saying like how Mass Effect 3 is now your favorite.
Yeah.
And it's like,
because Mass Effect 3 is the persona of those games. Like it is the most, like,
like
just hang out with your squad mates type game.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like the connections in 3 is like the best it's ever been,
for sure.
With the characters that you're with, and like these people that you've grown with and stuff like that. Like, because I could criticize 3 as much as I can as far as like certain aspects, as far as like how you know, like just how the story paced out or something like that, and like, but it's like, because like, that's why the Citadel DLC was my game of the year in 2013 or whatever. It's like those
Holds
connections
up too. Also,
yeah, those connections are like just, it was unreal, like how good it was, and like, you know, like I said, like you said, Persona is like the only other thing that like really gets it as far as like forming these connections with these people and like not wanting to let go, and like when you let it go is like one of the hardest things you have to do. It's a real thing.
Yeah, it like it makes the idea of that sacrifice like actually relatable at the end of Mass Effect 3, of like, oh man, like I feel this way more because like I feel like I'm giving something up, versus like, and I feel now that I've like gone through it again, I think that that's what they wanted, right? Like that feels more of like what they were going for, versus like honestly winning. It was never about winning. It was like feeling the toll of a sacrifice in you, and it's also like going back and seeing how like militaristic those games are. It's like it's a very weird feeling, like you are in a lot of, for all intents and purposes, in a lot of cases, like a space fed, and a space cop, a super cop, space cop, and it you feel weird about it in a lot of cases, and I like maybe unintentionally, but I think they like retrospectively did a good job with that stuff. What else have you been playing, Nabeshin? We can pivot off Mass Effect for a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Oh god. Nothing else really. Like the only other big game I play. Oh, there is a couple. I just remember I played Returnal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Returnal's very good. Very good. I only got to the second world of that, but it's something because like the way that game is designed, like it's pick up and play, but it's not pick up and play. So it's like unfortunately, so that's like the only hindrance of me not playing it as much as I should or can or want to. So I guess I'll wait for the update till they can make that a little bit smoother and better and seamless. But yeah, Returnal's really good. I enjoy that game a hell of a lot, just like any Housemarque game. Like they make fantastic
action
playable games. Yes.
Yeah, I really liked it too. It's funny, like I sat down with Scott and like streamed to him, and we just hung out and talked for a little while. And like Scott pointed out like a couple of things about it. I'm like, didn't notice this before, but now I will never. His like criticisms that I can't unsee. They're good. They're good things to point out. And like that game very much relies on like the fact that it just feels good and looks good. But it is cool. It's like a fun Housemarque game. It's like, if Housemarque wants to do something like this, like I see all the ways that they could really improve it, especially like more guns, more tools, more options for traversal, especially.
Right, and like the one really big thing that they could do, because I don't know if they've added this in yet, is like the biggest thing that kicked me off of the original Binding of Isaac to be Binding of Isaac
Afterbirth,
Rebirth.
Okay, I was trying to figure
like
out which
base
version
game,
of
base
it.
game,
Yeah, got
base
it.
game. So the base game of Binding of Isaac 2 is the fact that you were not locked into a run, right?
Yeah.
At any point in time, you could say, "I'm done for today," close out the game, and just continue later.
Yeah.
And those runs, by the way, the Rebirth runs were 30-minute runs. That was it.
Yeah. Returnal definitely gets up there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so does a game like Risk of Rain, which also suffers from that problem quite a bit. But I mean, I would argue that I don't know what Returnal's out is, because there in Risk of Rain, there's a point where you say, "Okay, I'm done with this run. I'm gonna beat the final boss. I'm gonna go obliterate. I honestly don't give a shit, so I'm just going to stand here and die."
Yeah. and there's like a similar kind of point of Returnal for each area, but it's more complicated because there's a lot more factors, obviously. It's a lot less linear. But yeah, I think they are working on like a save and quit option so you can come back to a run. So, but yeah, I'm glad you dug it, Nabeshin. It's a cool game. It's real pretty too.
Mm-hmm.
Looks great. If you got one of those nice TVs, it's a great showcase for it. What else? You said there were a couple things.
Yeah, like well, let me actually look this up because like obviously the big one is like Maximum Ratchet and Clank. Not too much into it, I would say, because like like I've been busy, so
yeah, you're busy right now. You mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, so but like I played like up to like where you could play Ratchet again.
Okay.
I've been playing Rivet for like a good while, and now I can start with Ratchet again. But yeah, that game is great, and like and it's so good. Like it's really good to the point where like it's hitting the bar that I've wanted the games like this to hit for a while now, and like it's hitting the cracking time bar.
Yeah, it's got hover boots, so
Yeah, that
it's
helps.
the defining characteristic.
I mean, like even like pressing L3 and like being able to sprint, like oh man, that's a game changer. Like there's a little thing like that. Just, like,
It's
does a
so
lot for
weird,
me.
and I had the same exact thought. And like you and I have been playing Ratchet and Clank games for a long time, so yeah, it's just like having a sprint button. It's like, oh, this is weird. I mean, it's nice. It's good to go fast. It's just like modern video games have somehow gotten everywhere, I guess.
Right. But like I've been enjoying the hell out of it. Like especially because I went to it like basically not knowing anything. Everything's surprising me, and like literally the only like disappointment about this game really is that it's nefarious again. Because like I became into Ratchet and Clank late, so like
You've kind of only
like
known nefarious.
yeah, because I started with Tools of Destruction, so like I got introduced to Tachyon, and so like with Tachyon, then I got to Nefarious when like when Cracking Time happened, like oh Nefarious is like the best bad guy ever type of thing, and then it's like oh he was in Up Your Arsenal, and then like they did the remake of 1, and it's like oh it's him again at the end instead of like the other guy, and now it's him again. So
Baron Drax, please. He has a name.
I'm sorry.
I'm just fucking, I'm fucking kidding.
Yeah.
It's probably not
But,
the right
like,
name anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, and like it's not like I don't love Nefarious because I fucking love Nefarious, but
Yeah, he's
like
great.
yeah, but like you had someone like Tachyon before, so like I don't think you get someone like try someone new again, and like the fact that I haven't heard him say Lawrence yet once is like kind of disappointment as well. But like, other than that, that's like my only like
I feel
nitpicks
like
about the game.
because I'm not that far into it either, so like I'm about where you're at. I feel like there is definitely going to be a Lawrence payoff, and I am very excited for it. I feel, and again, this is me. I do not know anything either. We kind of both went into this blind. Like neither of us watched that State of Play or whatever. You might have. Did you end up watching it?
No.
Yeah, so like I knew probably about as much as you going into it, and I feel like this is just my assumption, but this feels like Nefarious's last game. Like this feels like how they're gonna send him off, which is cool. Just like the idea that he's like taking them to another dimension where he always wins. And I also have yet to meet this other dimension's Nefarious, Emperor Nefarious.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're gonna play that character, and it's so fun like not knowing and still playing it. Like I haven't been ruined on it. It's like, and I appreciate that they're not like teasing that out like early on. It's like they're saving it clearly for a good moment at the end. It's like, well, clearly he's gonna hate our Nefarious, and B, he's gonna like be a much worse villain. So I'm excited to get there, and that feels like a really good way to send off him as like an overarching villain for the franchise. It's my hope, at least. But yeah, I also really like it. It's not like I'm not as into it as I want to be, but I'm also like in that post. Like I just played a game that I was really, really into, and so it's hard. It's been hard for me the last few times. Like after I beat Mass Effect 3, for example, I had like a full week or two of like, I'm just not as into anything right now. It's hard to find something like in recent months. Every time I finish something that I just like loved with all my heart, yeah, like I'm just like, oh, I'm like wiped for a bit. And it's hard for me to get into anything at all. So that's kind of where I'm at with Ratchet and Clank. But it is really good. It's really pretty. All the people saying like this game looks like the best video game ever. Like I get it, it's a good looking video game.
It's the Pixar video game.
Yeah, it's the animated series movie video game. Yeah, it's great. I'm glad. I was worried that this would also be like you would get to it and be like, whatever. But I'm glad it's clicking.
It's like. Yeah, it's like anytime I have time for it, like I put towards it. Like I haven't really even played Guilty Gear Strive because like I've been playing this. Like I'm just, it's really been like a good game that like I've been enjoying. Like it's like I feel like it's the game that I've been enjoying the most in like probably a while because like it's it's been like a good almost year since like I played something that really spoke to me. Price that's royal, honestly. So like you know, other than Mass Effect,
I was gonna say, other than Mass Effect.
yeah. But like yeah, enjoying the hell of it. So it's all good.
Insomniac back on the menu. If they bring Sunset Overdrive to PlayStation, are you gonna play it?
I'll play it, but I didn't really like that game to begin with. I was one of those people, so
Yeah, I'm kind of one of those people too. I go back and forth.
you love those.
I go
you
back
love that
and
game.
forth with that game so much. Like I like
Really?
it, and then I remember parts about it. And I'm like, it's really long, and it's like all the open world part of it is just not that great. And then like I remember boss fight. I'm like, it's fun, and like yeah, but the guns aren't that good. Like there's some good guns, but there aren't enough. Like that's my. I have to replay that game just to know, but I feel like I'm gonna play like the first 2 hours and be like, fuck this game.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
I mean, like
that's fine. It's just
let's be realistic. What we're really waiting for is the Alan Wake remake. That's the
Blue Point. I got one request now. I mean, whatever the Remedy's the secret Alan Wake sequel that they're working on, man. Like, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind whenever that's announced. Look for that reaction video. How do you feel about Elden Ring, Nabeshin?
Elden Ring looks fucking amazing. It's one of those things. It's just like fucking Demon Souls from last goddamn year. Like it's like, oh, this is a game that I'm gonna play for like 20 minutes and whatever. But like, I love the hype for it. I'm part of the hype for it. I'll buy it day one and like I'll like it. I'll like looking at it. I'll like playing it for a while and I won't fucking touch it. I'll let other people touch it and experience it for me, and I'll get my enjoyment from them, even though I have the game to play myself. I'm not gonna really get into it, but it might be like a Bloodborne situation where it's like eventually after like the noise is gone and I actually try it for myself, then like, oh yeah, I actually like this, so great.
The noise is gone. Hey, at least you know your place. You know like where you're at.
So you have been watching the World's End with You anime.
That was a good callback.
That's a good shit.
Anything else you want to mention, Nabeshin? I wrote down Guilty Gear Strive. You mentioned it. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I haven't played too much about it. With it, I haven't even been watching streams about it. Something.
I know Jared's been very into it. He's been playing a lot of it.
Yeah, I want to get more into it. I just haven't had time for it, unfortunately. I weirdly got back into Overcooked again because my girlfriend never played it before. So like we've been playing that, and that's just been fun again. Because like after like me and Katie dominated, like going through it with a fresh face now has been like really.
You're
like,
the
fun.
fucking. You are what's his face? You're the dude. You're Hell's Kitchen guy. What are you doing? I need you to cut these fucking eggs. You're Gordon Ramsay screaming at your girlfriend, just like, "What are you doing?"
She claims that I yell at her, but like I don't yell. I'm just like
I'm just very loud with my aggression.
Are you sure that you haven't picked up 2 slices of bread?
Are you sure it's
Call
just
her an
one?
idiot sandwich.
We need to get these orders in right now. If we don't get 3 stars, I'm restarting.
that's pretty much everything I've been playing.
Cool. Tony.
Hello.
Tony Horvath, what you got? Have you been in the VR space? What you been doing, man? Video games.
Over the past week, I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, same with me.
That's great.
Yeah, it's been basically like I had nothing else to do, and it started looking like Tarkov was gonna get a wipe this weekend at some point. They started all these crazy events going on in there, and typically, and the game went on sale. All that stuff typically coincides with the wipe, but it was unconfirmed until today. Battlestate Games has put out a tweet that kind of cryptically confirms the wipe is coming.
Great wipe.
Time for a fresh start.
The great equalizer is coming.
Yeah, shit like that. So I was
like the
on
sad
Wednesday
part?
or on Thursday, on Tuesday. I was like, what do I do until the wipes happen? And I was like, what if I just mod the shit out of Stardew Valley, and play that? So I asked Scott if mods work in multiplayer, and then found out that they do.
Mm-hmm.
So Scott and I started a co-op farm on Stardew, heavily modded, with like this whole like huge expansion pack for the game that like kind of revamps a lot of it.
Cool.
And we are about halfway through our second year now.
Nice. What's the name of this expansion?
It's called Stardew Valley Expanded or something.
Okay.
Yep, that's it. Stardew Valley Expanded.
Yeah, it's good. The installation, everything was really easy. So it's basically like Stardew if it had a bunch more of the vanilla content. So it's not like a bunch of stuff that's like obviously like this is a mod, you know.
I like that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the vanilla experience with a lot more stuff in it.
More crops, more stuff to sell, more characters, more events. You know.
Yeah.
Cool. And plus,
also the farm is
added,
way bigger.
Yeah, they added stuff just to that game in general since.
Yeah. Also, the last time I seriously played was when the game first came out.
Yeah.
And now it's got a lot more stuff.
Yeah, and I'm finding out that a lot of stuff that I thought was the mods. No, that's vanilla stuff now.
Like the are you talking about like the desert, the second cave and stuff, like all that?
I didn't even know there was a second cave. Why are you being a dick right now? Why you gotta spoil? Why you gotta spoil stuff for me?
I have never been this much of a spoiler in my life, and I feel so bad.
But no,
there's no second cave in the desert. I don't know what you're talking about.
True.
Oh no, we know about that one.
Did we?
The Skull Cave?
Yeah. You just made me feel so bad.
No. He's talking about there's the Skull Cave, but he said there was another cave after the Skull Cave.
Yeah, there's another one.
God damn it, Alex!
I'm sorry. Spoilers.
But yeah, there's the bulletin board now. I thought that was a mod thing. It's not a mod thing.
Yep.
Well, because before because it's not just a bulletin board. It's a because there is a bulletin board when people post daily posts. And now there's a weekly one right below the mayor's house. I don't know what we call that.
Yeah. And there's the ships that come in the winter festival. If you guys are in year 2, you would have seen them.
We haven't gotten to year 2 winter yet.
Aren't you halfway through year 2? Isn't that what?
We're like in the beginning of summer of year 2.
Do they come in? Do they come in year?
Yeah, they come in year 1 in winter.
Yeah, so it's Night Festival.
Yeah, the Night Festival. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes. I haven't done it because let me be honest. In multiplayer Stardew, having 2 people is like having 1 in 30% of a person.
Yeah.
Because
you share money and a lot.
It's not that it's not just you share money and you have to have the double. It's because most of the other stuff makes up for that.
Yeah,
it's more that there is no pause to the timer whatsoever, no matter what.
Yeah.
So when you go through an event, you're going through that time's still racing on. So you go through an event, in 5 hours of the day go by.
Yeah.
So that event tanks the rest of the stuff that you were supposed to do in town.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
on and so forth. So and then it's every time you mess with your inventory, time used to pause. Now all the thinking you have to do with your inventory is now
real time. Yeah.
So it's with that, it makes the game like way more taxing than in a single player game. When it's just the 2 of us. Now, if there was 3 of us, then there's a lot less to sort of manage per person.
Yeah, I get you.
Because you don't get extra space, and basically, and even if there was a 4th person, then it's way less stress when you get to sort of have those time wastes because it's, oh, hey, we're doing, when we go to the mine, we get to do double duty. So I don't have to go as far. So the initial inventory management doesn't, like what that would normally take 3 or 4 hours of in-game time all the way through isn't as important because you have two people's worth of inventory, 2 people's worth of damage and health bars and whatnot. And then you go through the mine almost twice as fast because 2 people are hitting rocks.
Yeah. It balances itself out.
But with what we're doing now, it's I go to the mine, Tony manages stuff on the farm.
Yeah.
I manage some animals. He's got to go check out some shops. And it almost fully equalizes itself with all the nuances of multiplayer just having two people.
Yeah. I played a little bit with Quinn, and yeah, we had a little bit of fun with that. I think we just got to like summer that we didn't get very far, but it is cool how it kind of disseminates the roles, and you have to kind of manage from there. Anything else you've been playing, Tony, outside of Stardew?
Not really. It's been like hanging out. I played a little bit of League of Legends with my other friend Alex. Now
right,
she
right,
had two
Alex.
Tonys. I have two Alexes.
Mm-hmm. As is tradition.
Yeah. But other than that, it's been pretty chill.
Do you have any VR ventures that you'd want to share now that you have Nabeshin here? Because you have taken us on some journeys.
In the past couple weeks, I haven't used it at all. Actually,
let me be correct. You've taken me on some journeys in private Discord calls.
Yeah, true. We have done that.
Really, you have? I'm surprised to hear you kind of take a break from it at all. Was it just?
I've just been busy doing other stuff. I've been watching a lot of GTA roleplay the past couple weeks as well, and that kind of takes up the whole evening.
Yeah.
As I'll be watching like 2 or 3 streams of that, and I could do that in VR, but it's just like more of a hassle than it's worth.
Sure.
When I'm switching between point of views and stuff. Yeah, I would totally be down to like show Nabeshin some shit. But
there's some places that Tony can take you that I would just love to hear your reaction to. Maybe not tonight, but like just take Tony up on his offer if he ever texts you and says like, "Hey, you want me to show you some VR shit? I promise you will not be
fucked up shit.
I promise you will not be disappointed." Tony, I will say it is like your levity in it all of like, yeah, and then this is here, and well, you can probably figure out what they do with here, and that is like what sells it the most for me. I'm like, well, this doesn't bother Tony, so this probably shouldn't bother me.
Yeah, I'm numb to it.
Yeah, exactly.
But one other thing, I've been playing this mobile game called Counterside for a couple weeks. It's just a gacha game. It's nothing special.
Scratching that itch.
It has a PC client though, so I'm not playing it on my phone. I'm playing pretty much exclusively on PC.
Finally, they were listening. They made it for you.
So that's definitely it. So.
Okay. What about you, Scott? Outside of Stardew?
I did play a little bit of League. They finally came out with that Mundo rework update that they've been, I guess, teasing. I think they teased it for a year before it came out.
You've been teasing me about it for a year, I think.
They did a good job, and I hate it.
Thanks, I hate it. Really?
Well, they did a very good job with his overall visual redesign. They kept his goofy aesthetic to a T. Well, they kind of turned that up to 11. I'm still on the fence about that because. And for another time, I haven't fully thought about that yet.
Sure, okay.
It's still pretty good though.
Okay. It's not like what they did to Aurelian Soul, which we don't talk about anymore.
No. It falls under a similar vein because Mundo is basically a stat stick versus a race against time.
Yeah.
So it's if you hit basically a certain money threshold, you spiraled out of control when in a way that the enemy team can't do anything about. If you play it relatively correctly. So the sort of thing is you have to make sure that Mundo 1 does not get any farm, and 2 you have to make sure that he doesn't kill you. Now, the first one's really easy. He kind of bad at killing people if he doesn't hit his threshold. The second one's extremely hard. Was extremely hard to do. The way that he plays now and those two things also kind of made him bad because it's not. It took too long for him to hit that, and in higher ELO games or more evenly matched games, it wasn't too likely to happen. But he was still one of those types of characters, so he wasn't very good to begin with. And what they ended up doing is they made his constant AOE damage a burst instead.
Okay.
Now it's not burst as in I'm doing all my damage all at once. It's you hit a button and his AOE does, I want to say, 20 seconds of damage over the course of 10 seconds, and then it's on a cooldown.
Okay.
So it also throws in some added tankiness that he kind of needed.
Okay. Take a hit.
And,
Beefy
right,
boy.
So he can. It's you hit him while he's doing his E, and if at the end of it, if he reactivates it, he heals back a portion of the damage dealt. Or if he's hitting another champion while he reactivates it, deals damage to them, and he regains all of it.
Ooh, that is really cool.
Right. So it's and basically it's that makes him on paper just way more tankier than he was before on average, like without his ult. So they had to scale his ult back.
Got it.
And the way they changed his ult basically fixed the way that his ult was balanced. Because how it used to be is it ate 20% of his health. So they had to compensate for basically dropping him 20% of his current HP. And this works exactly how you think it might. If you're too low when you use it, you immediately die.
Yeah.
Not because your R kills you, but if you're taking that much damage, that the heal that was way too much before, it wouldn't kick in time.
Yeah, you'd be dead.
You would have 1,000 health left. You chunk 800 of it. They do 800 immediately.
Yeah.
To you, and in this case, instead of having it that way, it doesn't last quite as long, and it doesn't heal for as much as it used to, but it's an immediate 20% increase instead.
Okay. And I imagine you could combine that with his E move and
with his W.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
They turned his E into a permanent steroid instead of a on-active steroid that you just had active the entire time because you could. So you just passively gain bonus attack damage.
That's right.
And then a bonus based off of your health. You just have that permanently now. And when you kill something with it, he throws his medical bag. He now has a medical bag.
He is a doctor.
They hammer that in much more now.
More backstory
than before.
More lore, Sky. We need more lore on the field.
It's like before, if you played him with his voice lines, the only reason you know he's a doctor is because one, he's in a lab coat, two, his name is Doctor.
Yes.
Right? That's it. Now he has jokes about one of them directly is malpractice makes malperfect.
I gotta hear what Mundo's voice sounds like after this. I love it. I'm Dr. Mundo. I imagine something like that.
Yes.
Malpractice means malperfect. All right, Doc. Where'd you get that lab coat? You picked up off the street, buddy?
He must be a good doctor because his patients never come back.
It's true. For one reason or another. Any non
and then his Q is basically the same as ever. So his kit plays the same. He's just he's about as effective as he was before, which is not very. But with those new changes, he is not as reliant on being a stat stick.
Yeah. And
being a stat stick no longer takes him as far.
That's good. And
that's overall, that's great.
Yeah.
The issue is that he was bad to begin with, and he's still bad, so I'm not happy about it.
That's something I can deeply relate to. So yeah, I get it.
And then, but to top it all off, he can no longer jungle. He was never supposed to be a jungler in the first place. We just realized if you just let him put his W on and burn everything in the jungle, he does it really fast. And now his W is a permanent, and it's definitely not up for every camp you do, only every other. So he doesn't. You can if you really want to, but it's like taking an ABC.
It's not an efficient use of your time.
Please don't. Yeah, please don't.
Yeah, don't jungle with Mundo. The name of my new country album. Anything non-League of Legends that you've been playing in Stardew Valley?
Yes, the Tarkov shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about them adding Tarkov shenanigans in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to explain some of those.
Sure.
So we've talked about raid bosses before.
Yeah.
Or scav bosses. The raiders. What they decided to do is normally, every scav boss is tied to a map. Killa's on interchange. Glukar's on reserve. Rashala's on customs. Sledgehammer will be on factory. He's not in yet. So on and so forth. But they decided, you know what? Every scav boss needs to be on reserve. And it goes about as you imagined.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard us be vocally afraid of Killa in the show before, and he's a lot worse on reserve.
Yeah.
You see, on interchange, there's a few areas in the map you could just avoid, turn the corner and point in a very small direction. He'll be, within an inch of where you're pointing on screen because that's his route. On reserve, he patrols an open area. If he finds somebody, he does his Killa thing. So
do you have like an inkling? Well, you finish what you're gonna say first.
So instead of it being, okay, I know when I can turn a corner and expect to pre-fire, whatever, to try and see if Killa theirs and be super aggressive about it. And on reserve, there's the angle of area to work with is way too wide. He will always see you first. He will always shoot more accurate faster than you.
Yeah, of course.
So it's just one of those things where it's, yes, you just might be able, like, if he were a player, if he had player HP, you would be able to win, sure. But because you do not have the extra second of drop usually that you would do on him, you are no longer going to reliably win that fight. Oh, also, by the way, they doubled his HP.
Nice little balancing update.
So that's even worse. They added Sanitar to the same thing, and I want to say they made him have 10 times the amount of HP.
That's what it feels like.
He now has 6. I don't remember what he had. I'm pretty sure it's close to like 1,500. Now he has 6,500 HP, and it's like you see like the small clip of somebody going and gunning somebody down with a full mag, and basically all Sanitar does is sprint in the other direction because he's moderately low on health, and that's what Sanitar does when he's moderately low on health. So you see this guy reload and check his mag, and it's, wait a second, this guy isn't running bad rounds, he's running Chad rounds. That's what we call them in Tarkov. The people who front end with class 6 armor and everything. He's running a massively overpowered loadout, and he mag dumped somebody point blank and didn't kill him.
Chad rounds.
And it's just one of those things where it's really funny because like one of the comments under is, you know what? I guess he decided he didn't like bullets that day and walked away.
Now, do you get to decide if like the raid you're going to go on is going to have a boss, or is it just like the boss will randomly be there?
No.
Okay.
No. it's like when you go into when you just run into a raid, it's well, okay, you could go into an offline raid and not play with anybody. Yeah, you get to decide. But
I mean,
when
like,
you go into a normal raid with your normal stuff, in general, it's no. A boss may or may not spawn. You don't get to basically decide anything that happens. You get to pick what map you go into, what time you go into, and your loadout.
Got it.
Everything else is up to the game.
Okay. And now any boss can
there
be on
might
any
be
stage.
A boss there, and apparently at this point there might be three bosses on there that happen to me.
That's always a fun little surprise. Yeah, I don't know if you guys ended up watching any of the specific showcases for E3, but in Keeley's Summer Game Fest show, this is the one where they showed the Elden Ring trailer. Tarkov was in there. I was like, oh, you've come so far, Tarkov. I'm so excited. I was just stoked to see it in a big show presentation. I was thinking of you guys. Any other weird Tarkov changes? Or?
They made labs free.
Like the map?
They made labs free. Yeah. Before you had to buy like a $200,000 key card to go in. Now you just go in for free. Just spam it with no real cost. You still can't get insurance back. So it's a weird map for sure. I haven't figured out how to make spamming it, even if you don't have a key, super worth it without other keys, simply because of how dangerous it is.
It's all about to be reset anyway, so.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they did this for the wipe, but generally labs is very profitable because you have these buttons that spawn these raiders, and these buttons just correspond to extracts. So you hit the buttons to open up an extract, raiders pop out, you kill them, you loot them, you leave. Or you can go and you can try for keys, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And of course, there's 8 other players on the map, and no player scavs, and no normal scav spawns. But that last part, no normal scav spawns, is no longer the case.
Okay.
They have scavvy ass scavs with shitty ass loot with raider AI. So they're yeah, basically. They aim for the thorax if they can see it. That's how the AI works. So it's like if you're wearing Classics armor and they have the key 45M or a shotgun with rip rounds or something like that, it's like, yeah, you're going to win that fight. However, they see you, they yell, they immediately shoot, and they're going to hit you.
Listen, Scott,
if you are not out of their line of fire, it's immediate. And that's generally not how normal scavs work. That's how raiders work. And with that kind of AI, generally comes with a reward that's sort of good, but they just kind of got shit on them.
Scott,
they'll have an extra grenade.
I don't want to judge you, but humans don't have thoraxes, so they're aiming for the torso. I understand the inclination to want to say they're aiming for the thorax. We are not bug people, Scott. How many times do I have to tell you this? Nothing. Well, give or take, we might be bugs. I am going to refer to people's torsos as thoraxes from now on, for sure, Scott. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just love that you chose to describe it.
No. I'm Googling it. The thorax is the area above the stomach.
All right. Hey, man. I'll take it. If a man has a thorax...
Like, in I think you're thinking of a different body part?
I'm thinking of ants, and they have thoraxes. But... I just thought that was a great use of the word thorax. I think that's all I got.
Yeah, no, it's the general chest area that can.
Most people say torso. I'm not judging. Well, I'm judging.
The torso includes the stomach and below.
Yeah, no one's shooting your stomach. I get you.
Right, like in Tarkov, they separate the two.
I mean, there's probably like armor pieces that would require you to separate those two in Tarkov, to be fair.
Yeah, that are all. It's not just that. It's like if they hit you in the stomach, your energy and water go super low because
that's
your
fucked
stomach's
up.
wide open. So you are now in even more of a race against time to get out of the map or try and fix it somehow. And as you said, there are armor pieces that only cover the thorax.
All right, well, I'm gonna go become a bug man now. Where's my carapace at? Gotta cover this thorax, this thorax, and this thorax. I know. I'm just giving you a hard time, Scott. It was just like I had personally never heard someone describe a human body with a thorax term. It was just very funny to me. Let me play. Come into my play space and let me play. Any other Tarkov video games? Anything else, Scott?
No.
Okay.
Well, I want to think about it now.
You had a lot this week, so. I had a few. We talked about a lot of them already. So just mention Ratchet & Clank still very good. Mass Effect still very good. I've been putting off talking about new Pokemon Snap until I played more, and I've played more, so I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. We don't have to spend too much time on it. I've been very much enjoying it. It's funny because like we talked about it the week before it came out, of like what do you do in a Pokemon Snap game to make it like more playable, to make it longer, and the solution. And I have some qualms with the game. It's not perfect for sure, but I just think it's really interesting that the solution they came up with was to like make it really grindy, which is not it's a very like JRPG solution to a problem of like, okay, each route, each map, basically, let's just call them maps, has like multiple levels, and by getting secrets and different Pokemon pictures and whatever, and like pictures of things in the environment, you go up levels. Every time you go up a level, the route that you take through it will change, it'll update a little bit. Pokemon will be in different places. The idea is like it's a preserve, and like they're getting more comfortable with you, which I actually really like as an idea. So like when they see you, they're like, oh, I'm going to come up and get close now. You can get closer pictures. And then that you continue grinding and doing the same level over and over again, finding new and new secrets until it levels up to level 3. And then I think it maxes out at level 4. And there are different things that happen at each level. And you can then choose like, okay, now there's 4 versions of this map. And then there's the nighttime version of the same level. And then that has the same, it levels up. So it's like you're intentionally doing the same thing over and over again. They kind of design it around that, which is like not how I would have gone about it, but it like but it's someone who's going to play the game that way anyway. It's like worked out very well, and I actually really like it. I just like I'm curious how they kind of got to that conclusion. But it's funny because like each level has like there's go ahead, Scott.
Can I ask about the execution of it?
Sure.
So I want to know like exactly how grindy is it? Is it
it's like
if you do let's just pretend there's a perfect way to get the most experience and the best shots each level.
Mm-hmm.
If you had one of those, roughly how many times would you have to go through a level?
So like many times like I go through a level for the first time on level 1, and if you do well enough, you immediately level up to level 2. So like already done, probably don't have to go back there. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the same Pokemon are there. You'll unlock a lot of new Pokemon, but like you can just like you're getting more points by getting different pictures of the same Pokemon, so you don't have to go back and replay level 1 usually, unless there's only something that you can get there, which usually there's not. So like then from level 2 to level 3, it's probably 2 more runs, and then 3 to 4. I haven't gotten that far yet, so but what I'll say in favor, it's weird because up front they like make you real hardcore. Like it's like here's one level. We're gonna just spend like the first hour and a half with one level. You're gonna do the day one a few times, the night one a few times, and then like each level also has like they're called luminous Pokemon. So it's like it's basically like a boss fight. It's not a boss fight, but it's like you're kind of focused on one Pokemon, and it's a little bit different version of the level that you unlock at the end. And that also levels up and changes, which is interesting. Those ones I would say are the most grindy of the regular levels. so up front, it has you do like this first level over and over and over again, and then eventually it gives you the second level, and then you're kind of going back and forth. And then after that point, it opens up 2 more levels. You play each of those once, and then 2 more levels, and then you play each of those once, and then nighttime for all those levels. So then you suddenly go from like having 2 versions of 2 levels to having 2 versions of 6 levels very quickly. And it's like, oh, okay, like it was a little grindy up front, and now it's like I feel like I can kind of do a different thing every time if I wanted to. And then throughout that point, they give you all the tools like that change the levels. So like the Pokemon food and the Luminous Ball, like they give it to you pretty much all right away, and then kind of set you on your way. So now that like I have everything going to,
I can.
You can go ahead, Scott.
Oh, I just wrapping back to like why they might do a level system is because they had other alternate routes and different maps in the first one. It was pretty arcane in a lot of ways. So it's what if what they were looking for, just big what if what they were looking for is it like a score chasing type game.
Yeah.
So if we think about it this way, it's do we hold back different versions of the level through old arcane bullshit? What it was. Kind of cool, but still. Do we force players to hit a certain high score in the level before they can improve? Or do we say, hey, on your first line through, or maybe it's if it takes this amount of time to achieve, for the average person to achieve said high score, then do we actually care if anybody achieves it?
Yeah. I think like that middle option of like kind of hitting a score thresholds in order to progress, it makes the most sense in how they made the game. Like the whole game is kind of constructed around it. So like it's not that I don't think it's executed inelegantly. It was like surprising like that's how they did it. It's very grindy up front, and then it opens up, and then it feels like there's a lot of freedom. But I like that, like, oh, I leveled up this level now. When I go back, now that there is like a Pokemon over here on this left side, he's gone, and now that opens up a new path. So now I'm like taking a different route through the level. In some cases, like it even has you like those are much more significant, I'll say, where it's like, oh, like I got to level 3 on this level, and now a new route is open right at the beginning of the level, and I take that, and essentially it's a whole different level. But because I just hit level 3, if I go the normal route through the level and not take this newly available new open route, it is also like a whole new level. So like, okay, I hit level 3 in this, and now I have 2 paths that feel brand new in both directions. So it's a lot of stuff, and if you like the kind of the way it doles out that stuff, it feels good. Yeah, they do it well. It's very chill. Like I've been like super drawing it out, like basically twice a week. Like, all right, I'm gonna do 2 levels, play for an hour, and then stop. Just because like I felt that it'd be more fun to just kind of like let this be my very jolly vibes, sit down and put a smile on my face video game, and it has been very good for that. And it's great. Like it's all a little puzzle solving, and I appreciate that they give you pretty much all the tools very early on, so you're kind of thrown into it with everything from the get-go. So just like taking pictures of Pokemon, there's plenty of pictures of Pokemon to take. And each Pokemon has like different tiers of poses. Go ahead, Scott. Do you have a question?
No, I thought you were more done. I thought you were. This is the stuff for when you're done.
Okay, like each Pokemon has like 4 tiers of poses, right? Like a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4. So like you're basically always having something like new points to get every single time you run a level, because typically, you know, you can only get one shot of you can only submit 1 shot of a Pokemon per run. So there's always 3 more shots to get. And a lot of them, I like how challenging they get to understand, and then like how good of a shot it is. It's like from bronze to platinum stars. So there's that kind of aspect to it. So the completionist in me wants to like have all 4 shots for each Pokemon, all platinum stars, like the best size shot I can get. and that feels good. And by aiming for that, like right from the get-go, you're getting those big score dumps that allow you to get the more progressed version of each stage as well. So it's a good cycle. It's a good feedback cycle. And I haven't even unlocked all the stages yet, so I'm excited to play more. Now, the floor is yours, Scott.
Well, yeah, it's I'm very curious to how, because it's a very jarring way, the leveling system. I'm still hung up on that. It's a very jarring way to present that game.
Yeah.
But given it is at its heart, it's a completionist style game.
Yeah.
It's with all the, if they didn't have the levels in it, would you really be playing for that much more had they just omitted the system entirely and just says one pass through gives you access to every level, and then going for the plat shots takes you X amount of time anyway?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Thinking about it, like, I appreciate that the changes when you level up a level are like vary from subtle to significant, right? Like sometimes it's like, oh, that Pokemon's only in the distance, and now it's like, oh, they're up front, so now like I can just get a better, really basic shot of this Pokemon. So they bounce off of each other really well. Of like, I got bronze shots of all these Pokemon through the level 1 run of it, and then I got all of those shots up to platinum through the level 2 run, and just by doing that, I've unlocked level 3 and 4 of that level. It's like they play off of the systems, play off of each other in a really good way. That's why it like, to me, it was jarring to see is like, all right, you've hit like the level 1 of first scores. It's like, all right, this is weird. This is how this game works. But like getting into it, it's like, this actually makes a lot of sense, and they're leaning into the grind and the completionist stuff, like you mentioned, in a way that I think works for it. So it's cool. Other stuff I've been playing. Destiny's still going on. Still playing Destiny every week. It's weird, like, I've now hit, for your point of reference, Nabeshin, because I know you've been out of my Destiny life for a little bit. This is the 3rd season since...
Been a while.
It's been a while. It's the 3rd season since Beyond Light launched in November. So that was the season of the Hunt. And then in February, it went into the season of The Chosen. And now we are, as of May, we are in the season of The Splicer. And I have been playing all 3 seasons, like, continuously. Like, there's been a new story mission every week. They've introduced stuff called like seasonal weekly challenges, which are like big XP dumps for doing certain challenges every week. So for the first time, I've like hit max level in each season, 3 seasons in a row. And like a lot of what I do in Destiny now is like end game grind that I want to engage with, because I have most of the stuff that I want to do. Like, I did the Vault of Glass raid. It's great. It's good to have it back. I've got a lot of the guns that I want to get. I've done the exotic quests, pretty much any of which they're available. So now it's like building armor sets. It's, developing my late game armor. Stuff like, not, this is a complimentary thing, like stuff that Tony, Scott, you guys are like really into in games like this. That I honestly just, it's not necessarily for me. But Destiny is like got that secret sauce that wants me to engage with that kind of stuff. And it's so funny because like I think about you two when I play Destiny all the time, Scott and Tony specifically, of like, I want to like, I think to myself, like, how would they approach this? Of like, how would they want to like min-max a build or like, because this is the stuff you guys talk about, and I hear you guys talk about it on the show all the time. Like, even like you guys talk about your Tarkov build like back in the day of like, this is this gun and I like this with this armor, and like, it's this much money and I know that much, I have this much money set aside to buy this build or whatever. So like I'm sitting there like, all right, what do I want to have as my supply? Like, I want to have this gun with these 2 perks. I'm going to grind the Nightfall this week to get the Nightfall weapon until it drops with these 2 perks, and I'm going to masterwork that. And then I will get another version with 1 perk that I'm looking for, and then whatever I like. It's like, I've never cared about that kind of level of nuance in a game before. And it's cool to be there with something like that. And I think it's probably more MMOs and stuff like that have that big like swath of like lightweight content to really difficult end game content that are the only vehicles that are going to be able to provide that. But like one of my things this season was I have an exotic hand armor that I like. It's called the Gloves of Ahamkara. They give you 2 melee charges instead of 1. Like that's the whole perk of the exotic, and I have had it since the beginning of Beyond Light, but I like just pulled it from my collections. Like you can pull any exotic you've gotten before, but all the stats on it are always going to be trash if you do that because you didn't earn it. You're just kind of like recollecting it. So I went and grinded one of these endgame lost sectors. Like they're called legendary lost sectors. They're higher difficulty, solo only, and they rotate every day. And the kind of hook of them is they have a low drop or a common or a rare to uncommon drop rate of like a specific type of exotic, and that rotates every day. So the sector will change to a different lost sector, and it's like, all right, now it's headpiece exotic, now it's chest piece exotic, now it's arm piece. So it's like I waited until the arm piece exotic was the lost sector, and then I grinded it for 3.5 hours. I got 12 exotic arms drops, and the last one I finally got was Ahamkara gloves. It's like a really good stat roll. It's like, all right, this is the one I've been grinding for. Crunch the rest, and then upgrade that to masterwork. And like, it's like, oh, I've never cared about any of this stuff before. So it's cool to like have that level of dedication to something. And it's fun. Like it's a really rewarding loop. But it's only that rewarding because I care as much about Destiny as I do. Were you gonna say something, Nabeshin? I didn't know.
No, I was just laughing at you.
Okay. But yeah, it's cool. It's basically what I've been doing in Season of the Splicer. Is like, okay, like there's an exotic thing I want. I did a bunch of PvP to get like their catalysts. They're like upgrades for exotic guns that make them masterwork. Just grinding PvP over and over again, which I have not done in a long time. And it's been fun, like setting little checklists for myself for the season of like, I want to get all these exotic catalysts. I want to get this certain armor set. I want to upgrade this and this and this. I want to have this type of gun. And it's fun, like finally being able to like feel like I can carry like damage and stuff in certain encounters. Yeah, it's on top of all that, the story of the season has also been really great, and a lot of political intrigue going on, kind of following up last season, and I'm loving it. I'm tense. It's tension in the city, in the last city of mankind, which I love. And then real quick, I started playing a little bit of the Sea of Thieves, a Pirate's Life expansion, which is a free expansion, just came out. Pirates of the Caribbean expansion for Sea of Thieves. Love it. I only played the first mission, and I love it. And I guilty pleasure, do enjoy the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I don't like Johnny Depp, but Jack Sparrow's fine. I guess that's kind of where I'm at. And this is like, especially that first mission, very Johnny Depp. No, there's no Johnny Depp, but very Jack Sparrow light. And I love, especially like it leans into the lore of the theme park ride. And I'm like a big Disney family, like Disney World family. Like my dad loves Disney World. My brother loves Disney World, like obsessively loves Disney World. So he's told me all the lore of the rides and like history of how they were made, and then like the story of what's supposed to be like the outside story leading into the actual ride and the theme around the ride and the park and all that. So like all that stuff has always been a talking point in my family. So seeing someone who like also gives as much a shit about that, like, hearing the audio cue of Dead Men Tell No Tales from the ride in Sea of Thieves, it's like, oh, this is so fucking cool. And that first like chapter, the first part of the Sea of Thieves chapter feels like you're going on your own like little Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and I love that. Like I'm not even gonna spoil it, but there's even like a little payoff of like the Dead Men Tell No Tales thing, and I loved it. Just put a smile on my face. It was like being in the theme park again, and I'm excited to play more. I'm gonna see if Quinn and Mike can get together and play. But Tony, if you're ever hankering for some more Sea of Thieves, let me know, because it's fun. New expansion's fun.
Could be.
Plus, like, this is the first time I actually like played.
You might convince the pirate. You might be convinced me to pirate Windows 11 early, so I can fix my Windows store.
So you can finally get Game Pass and download Microsoft games again. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't blame you. I mean, that's a pirate's life for me. That's what the whole thing's about. I was gonna say.
It's going to be a free update for me anyway.
Yeah.
My Windows right now, I gutted it because it didn't work to begin with. Me gutting it made it work right, and now I can't go back because now Windows 10 is fine. I got in a little too early. It didn't work right for my system. Now it's fine. But now I'm without a lot of the stuff.
Yeah. I've been there. I feel you. I will say, like, also this is the first time I've played a significant portion of Sea of Thieves on Xbox Series X, so full 4K, 60 frames per second. Very good. Very good looking game. Everyone already knows that, but... Alright, last thing. I'll try not to spend too much time on it. But Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is out. I would say that's like the thing I played the most of in the last couple weeks, specifically. Boy, I loved this game. I mean, I loved Final Fantasy VII Remake on the second pass already. Like, took a little warming up to get there, but I got there. But I really love Intermission. I think they just nailed Yuffie so well. This is, for folks that don't know, the PS5 exclusive $20 DLC that adds Yuffie's chapter to Midgar. Kind of takes place alongside the story, separate menu, load up 2 chapters, Yuffie and her buddy Sonon, and it's basically what were they up to when the events of Final Fantasy VII were happening, and I like to, like, this is like canon, you know, like this isn't like the weird, it's not in the weird in between space of like some of the Final Fantasy VII remake stuff, and they play with that like in the game, and in a fun way. It's all in tongue-in-cheek fun, but this is like the first, like, to me, like, really substantial, hey, here's how, like, we would want to flesh out the world of Final Fantasy VII. Like, here's a really new, fully new, like, you've never seen any of this story chunk before, and as for, like, for being that and for executing on that, it does a great job. It makes Yuffie way more of an interesting character, just like from the word go, because like the things that were interesting about her, she's a ninja, she steals materia, she's sassy, and she hates her dad because her dad's like kind of super shitty, and you get to see that relationship if you keep following through her side quests in Final Fantasy VII, and they touch on all those aspects of her here, and they flesh them all out with great dialogue with her and Sonon, and then like they just like, and they do this really well with the characters in base Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like they give her enough of an event to like change her in a way that like would logically spur her onto the actions that she takes going forward. It's like, okay, like this is just like a really good 3-act or like 5-act narrative structure of building to a climax and then hitting that resolution of where are we going to go next. And they just executed on that well. And on top of that, all the like mechanical stuff that they introduce with Yuffie and Sonon feels like super exciting for, okay, I can already see where they would take this in the next installment of the remake. There's already a lot of cool new ideas here. Yuffie already feels and plays really different than everybody else, and I can't wait to see her in with that team of like, man, Tifa and Yuffie like doing stuff together, like the synergizing of their abilities I can already tell it would be great. Stuff like that. The big thing, like mechanically, they introduce here is like you can't control Sonon. He's the other character. He's a new character. to Final Fantasy VII, but you can like essentially by pulling the left trigger in combat, you synergize with him, and this is so much like the Link system from Tales of Xillia, and that's a very high compliment. Because in Tales of Xillia, the idea is like you have a squad of 4, and it's two teams of 2, and you can link and unlink with someone, and by linking with them, they would go around and surround the enemy from behind, and you would attack them on both sides. And a lot of what the synergy system in this intermission DLC does is similar of like, if you're focused on an enemy, you can hit L2, and Sonon will also focus on that enemy, and you'll attack in tandem. And then you can do dual arts together, like combo attacks, kind of full like Chrono Trigger style of like, okay, like I have an ATB charge and Sonon has an ATB charge, so now we can both spend them together to do a super attack or a souped up version of one of Yuffie's moves. And all that just feels great. It is not like a thing that you can just over depend on. You can't just stay synergized and like kill something. It is good for like building up pressure or hurting something once it's staggered, but it is something that you kind of have to go back and forth between because you can't build ATB while you're synergized as easily. So it's like they already added that good give and take to it to make it more interesting. It just feels really good to like call someone in and like really pound damage on someone. And most of all, it's cool because like if someone is pressured, so they're kind of stunned and you can build stagger on them faster, this is like you build stagger really, really fast by synergizing on them. It's really great. And that's, you know, Yuffie has like a long range style and a close range style. You can kind of alternate between. She throws her throwing star, and that gives her a lot of like stuff inside and outside of combat, which is really cool. It's just I wasn't sure like what I wanted out of this. I kind of just wanted a little bit more Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they gave me that, and they gave me new stuff on top of that, and mechanical stuff that I was really into, more like little throwbacks to like the original Final Fantasy VII, and the Fort Condor minigame, which is great. It's like so it reminds me so much of like OG Gwent in all the right ways, in that it's like kind of broken, it's really easy to become super overpowered, and it doesn't matter because it's just fun, and it like it is fast enough that like you just want to keep doing it over and over again. So like immediately after you open up the Fort Condor minigame, it's like a very basic RTS minigame. I immediately like went to everyone and played Fort Condor with everyone and did all of it. And then when I beat it, I was like, you know, I'll try this out on hard mode, because I wasn't quite sold on hard mode at that point yet. And then I started on hard mode, did the beginning. I'm like, okay, this is actually really fun. I like Yuffie's like kind of really powerful, so it feels a little bit skewed more in my favor for hard mode. And then I found out in a hard mode there's like all new Fort Condor challenges, and I'm like, all right, well this is my next 3 hours. And then I just did that for the next 3 hours. But yeah, I can't say good enough things about just the presentation, the characters, the minigame, and just what they decided to do with Remake through Yuffie. And then they updated the regular game to the PS5 version, so I finally played through the whole game on hard mode, got all the trophies, platinum the game. Glad I waited, because like just the game at 60 FPS feels so much better. I can't even. It is one of the most transformative frame rate changes in a video game that I've had, like legitimately, just because there's a move for every character called parry, that lets you essentially, like, while you're guarding, you can do an alternate type of dodge roll. And Tifa's is extremely fast, and with it you can essentially cancel out of any move. And to be able to have like just the wiggle room of more frames of animation to do that cancel, like there were so many endgame bosses that I legitimately just dodge rolled circles around, because like it felt so much better and so much easier and more responsive to do so. But yeah, that is Final Fantasy VII. I think we lost Nabeshin. I think he had to drop out. But he sends his love in all of his heart.
Yeah, he did. He did.
I think that's it. That's all the video games. So we went for a minute here. So I do want to resolve our bets, and then we can wrap it up here. I really, do you guys remember the E3 bets that we made? I'm gonna give you some highlights here because I went and tallied them this morning, and Scott, today this is your year, man. This is the one. This is, of all the betting specials, I don't know if you've won any of them, but this is it. This is the one. I want to. So the totals are, and then we'll do our bets, and then we'll close out. The totals are: I got 0 points from our bets. Scott got 4 points, and Tony got 2 points. So congrats, boys. But I want to give a couple shout outs. Will there be headshots was one of the bets, and there were not many headshots. There were about, I would say, like between 8 and 10. Didn't really matter because Tony said 1, Scott bet 2, and I bet 42, so Scott was closest. I just love that was how it shook out, of like the 1/2 was the one. Scott, you were the only person that said the Master Chief will jump, which he did. Which I just think it's really funny that Tony and I both said no. And
if he was like, he's gonna be there. He's not. It's what it was.
He jumped
like Halo Infinite. It's right around the corner.
He jumped a lot too. It was good. He jumped like 3 times. It wasn't a huge deal. I do want to give a particular shout out. We all said no. I said the bet was, will someone utter the words, so speak aloud the words, Elder Scrolls 6. And somebody did, and I was legitimately surprised in the moment when that happened. They just mentioned it, but they said it, and I was like, I can't believe they said it. And we all said no, so we all got that wrong. But I will say, one of the bets was how many baseball caps will we see in games or in presentation, and how many of them will be backwards? And Tony, you said there will be 1 baseball cap, and none of them will be backwards, and you were exactly correct. Which I thought was so funny.
That's what I'm saying.
It was the Mario Golf presentation, the generic character, the Mii character that you play, wears just a regular old baseball cap. And it's like, all right, there it is, not backwards at all. But yeah, Scott, you still took it, 4 points. I had 0. Tony, you got 2 in there. So I think that's gonna bring Scott to the lead. Let me double check. Da-da. E3 bets. I don't know where my bets went. Oh, there we go. Da-da. Yeah, so Scott. Oh wow, no, Tony, you have 6 points, and Scott has 5. So Tony's still winning just by the 1, but I'm rock solid in the back with 1 point. 1 whole point. I'm trying to remember the bet I won. It was something dumb too.
Hey, at least you're on the board.
Exactly. There's definitely been times where I've not been on the board, so like this E3 bets. But then we'll do next week's bet, and then we'll end the show. So thank you to everybody that hung out with us during E3. That was very much appreciated. And there was definitely like the only 2 things was like the will someone say the Elder Scrolls 6? And I think it was Phil Spencer said it. I was like, I can't believe they fucking did it. I was just laughing thinking about that dumb bet we made. And then how many seconds will Waluigi be on screen? That was a very good one to count. It was 6 seconds total, but we all hoped it would be 69. All right, this week's bet. So now,
hold on. What was that one?
It was how many seconds?
The Waluigi one.
How many seconds will Waluigi be on screen, like moving, not a picture, not a still image? And I bet 69 seconds because it was funny. Mm-hmm. And you bet 2 seconds, and Tony bet 0 seconds, and he was on screen for 6 seconds. Which again, another good, like Scott's closest, nailed it. It was that and the headshot bet. You just got it. All right, so this week's bet, a little esoteric, but it's fine. A Plague Tale: Innocence, which actually the sequel to that game was announced at E3, which I was like amazed that somebody's decided to make a sequel to that game. It's very weird. The The game ends with a man controlling a wave of rats. It's very weird. But you know what? They're making another one, so I guess we're going to find out where that goes. There is going to be a Series X and PS5 version of that game is going to come out, I think, on July 6th. So what will the difference in install size be between a Plague Tale Innocence Xbox One version versus the Series X version? How big are those 4K assets? I guess you could also just say, how big do you think the Series X version is going to be? I'm going to say 38 gigabytes based on absolutely nothing. I normally would have, looked up how much the Xbox One version is. Don't even care. It's going blind. None of us know, so we'll take it. Scott? How big will this Series X version of this third-person action-adventure game be? Just follow your heart.
Is it I don't know anything about this game. Is it okay, so give me this. Is it more like The Last of Us kind of graphics or Risk of Rain 2 kinds of graphics?
The Last of Us kind of graphics. It's more high res, realism, high res.
And then
textures.
it's like a short kind of game though.
It's 10 to 12 hours. So
okay, let's go with 50 then.
50 gigs. It's a good bet.
Yeah, because if it were 30 or 40 hours,
then it could be a lot.
If it's got if it's got the high res textures, that base is gonna be a bit, but
it's a good looking game that's not that long, but it's probably got a lot of texture packs that are big gigabytes.
All right, Tony, it's time to bet 69.
Tony,
I'm in
69. All right,
69.
I really hope it's fucking 71, right there, It's too nice. Cool. That is it. That's the show. We've reached the end. There were some E3 headlines that, but they're making a new Metroid game. Be excited. Stop fucking around. Go buy this game. I need you to do this for me. All you motherfuckers out there that bought Hollow Knight and fucking Dead Cells or whatever, I need you to just show up for once. Just for me. Do it for me. Don't let this die here. Buy Metroid Dread.
I'll do it.
But yeah, there's some E3 stuff.
The last 2D game that they came out with was Fusion, right?
Yeah, they when they announced it, they're the first new 2D Metroid game in 19 years. And I'm sitting there this is a fucking crime. You all should be in prison for what you did to Samus. But they did Samus Returns remake, they did Zero Mission between. They've done all these remakes, and it's finally new Metroid. It's a sequel to Fusion. It said Metroid 5 at the beginning of that fucking trailer. I was so hyped. God damn it. Yeah, go watch our E3 stuff if you want to catch up with the big reaction to news. The Xbox and we did Xbox, Microsoft, and I think we did a roundup for that included Ubisoft and stuff as well. So, but good stuff. A lot of fun announcements. But thank you, Nabeshin, for joining us. I knew we were gonna tire that poor boy out, that poor sleepy boy. But I'm glad he could come hang out with us, talk about Sonic. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Tony, for joining me as always. Thank you, Danny Wiesner, for our opening music of Two Player Co-op and our closing music of The World Is Saved. And that's it. That's all I got. We will be back. It should be, I think, July 10th, around there should be when we come back. The next episode. But until then, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you very much. I've been your host, Alex O'Neill. Play your games. Stay irrational. We will talk to you all in 2 weeks. Titles? I read some titles.
I'm sorry. It's been bothering me the entire episode. I didn't want to say anything, but your video is very desynced from your audio.
Oh, is it? It's fine for me.
Yeah.
Here, I'll pop my...
Because it's your camera goes first, your audio comes after.
Yeah, I hate that stuff, dude.
It's perfect now. And I was because it was what's the best way to put it? I was looking at your camera cues to know when I could go in, and I was just wrong because they were desynced.
I was getting delay on Discord anyway, so it's okay. But yeah, it looked normal for me for most of it, but yeah, that happens. Titles. Titles. I let me see what I wrote here. All right, a fuck ton of cookies. Scott's bod.
Ooh.
Thanks, I hate Mundo now. Alex spoils everything, and Chad rounds, which I just thought was really funny. And I all caps Chad because I felt like that was the intent.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be such a Chad. What do you like, Scott?
I kind of like Chad rounds.
What do you like, Tony?
Scott's bod.
Scott's bod. I like Scott's bod too. Sorry, Scott. We're gonna objectify you for this episode. Tony, do you want to say the episode number and then I'll say the title? It's $4.99.
$4.99. Nice. You're listening to the Irrational Passions podcast, episode 499.
Scott's bod.
No Dutch.
No touchy. This is rule number 1, 2, and 3.